Welcome to the next edition of Chatting with Chuck. I'm your host, Chuck. Today, my guest is Sean Tovey. We're here to talk about how communication and transportation is changing in a little bit. So, Sean, what changes have you seen in how automation is used in transportation?
Well, Chuck, the first time that I got involved in transportation, it was in a technology capacity, albeit nothing as elaborate as what we're doing now. But I was working on CBs for trucks, and technology was just as important back then, or at least the advancement of technology and whatever edge the industry could achieve by using and leveraging technology. So back in the day, it was simply communicating with other drivers. Hey, what lane should I be in? There is a vehicle pulled over here. And so much that everybody realized that it was not only a good tool for logistic companies and the average independent driver, but then consumers started picking up on it and started buying CBs so that they could participate in that communication, which ultimately just speeds up the end result, getting whatever it is from point A to point B. And so nowadays, technology has constantly been growing and improving to the point now where we're able to use GPS to navigate drivers. We're able to use cellular communications in a way where the analytics and the metadata of our driving is being shared with the community and allowing their driving to be more efficient and quicker. So by sharing this information in a secure, easy to use and collaborate environment, we're ultimately able to make up for the one thing that we can't do, build more roads. So what we have to do is figure out a way to make our transportation more efficient, more effective, and with a higher quality.
Sean, I understand that you have a background in wireless networking. How do you see that used in transportation communication?
Well, I've had several customers that are always looking at loss prevention. They're always looking for quality control. Some customers, they want to make sure that their deliveries are being delivered on time, every time, with every product that leaves the back of the door of the truck, that it enters the store, and the conversion rate or the loss prevention rate is reduced. Quality control is important, not only for making sure that you are maintaining a quality product, but also fulfilling contractual obligations. If you have a customer that says that your transportation must be refrigerated under 45 degrees the entire transit, contractually you're required to meet those specifications. One of the ways that we help is with data collecting information and cellular LTE gateways that can automatically collect all of these different informations, whether a delivery door is left open at a store and the standard operating procedure says that the driver should have closed it, or if the temperature goes above 45 degrees within 10 minutes of its transit. Why should we send a truck 3 hours away only to be told to turn around and go back? That's obviously a waste, and that's a loss. So what we've done is we're able to gather this information efficiently and deliver it in a way that companies are able to mitigate their risk and reduce their losses. The more information they have, the quicker as possible, the better that they can make the best decision from a financial perspective. So rather than send it to the grocery outlet that prefers priority 1 vegetables, there's also another grocery store that says 50 degrees is okay. So let's say in that environment, rather than wait a few hours for the truck to get to its location only to be turned back around, the information is delivered to a dispatcher who can reroute the truck mid-transit.
So, Sean, I'm just curious, what about in the future? What do you see this may lead one day? Do you see other things happening in the future with the communication?
Absolutely. In fact, I've already started the installation work. If you go to Sacramento International Airport, the entire facility was over $10 million automated parking system. It included security, light with license plate recognition software built into the cameras. Everything at the Sacramento International Airport regarding parking has been automated with Advantech technology. In fact, Advantech has hardened PCs that are outside in the desert heat during the summer that's running 24/7 with no downtime, handling credit card transactions and making sure that people that come off their flight are able to leave in a timely manner. The airport is also using automation by counting where the parkers are. When are they coming in? Where did they park? When did they park? What if they lose their ticket? All of this integration and automation is allowing people to move on with their lives at a much faster rate. Before, airports would have to ask a person when they come in and look for their ticket, and this would cause an extreme delay exiting. But now the airports are allowed to use the software that ties in with license plate recognition, identify exactly when they come in, and charge them the appropriate amount for their parking quickly, with no delay, no loss of time for both the employees or the customer. Now, this is going to keep growing to the point of more automation, more time sharing, if you will. In the 1990s, we started this new idea called time sharing, and it was really with servers. You would have many companies that would have these large servers, and they would only use them from 8 to 5. And then people started realizing they can share these assets. Transportation is very similar. The consumer pays a significant amount for a vehicle, but only uses it approximately 2 to 5% of their time. Now, if you're able to use technology and share that resource, so when you go to work and say a self-automated pilot can drive that to go pick somebody up and take them to work and then just come back and pick you up when you're done. Now we've found a way to use technology and automation to help everyone and reduce costs.
Sean, you talked about, transportation. We talked about trucks. We talked about airplanes and all that. What about things like trains and, parking tolls, things like that? What do you see that happening there?
Well, the trains have already began to improve dramatically. I know now when I travel, I'm using rail much more. And the reason why is because the information and the data that's collected from the rails is being automatically imported into, say, the Google Maps database, where now the average person is able to use a train because they're able to get that information to them much quicker. Where is the train going? Where do I pick it up from? Do I need to walk to that train station, or should I take an Uber to get there first and then the train for the long haul? All of this information wasn't available to us, say, 10, 15 years ago. You had to spend a significant amount of time looking at whatever brochure that obviously the transportation company had to print out a lot of these brochures. And now everybody with a smartphone is able to get the same information, and that is all due to data acquisition and effective industrial communications. And a lot of times this is over cellular. The one thing that I think everybody needs to understand is automation is not perfect. We know that. Elon Musk just said we cannot have a heavy reliance on automation. So by no means is anybody suggesting going from one extreme to another. However, automation is limited. We are smarter than machines. For example, programmed a wireless mesh network for the Department of Transportation, the Ohio Department of Transportation, down at Cincinnati Police Department. The intention was the wireless network supports high-definition megapixel cameras throughout the city. Now, while this increases safety significantly, the other thing that the city has noticed is traffic has become less of a problem after events, because now they're able to log in and view live using hardened, rugged, proven wireless and industrial communications technology. They're able to override the automated traffic system and allow people to get home quicker after, say, a ball game. Baseball, football, any kind of event. Computers just can't handle this. It needs a human being to sit in that desk and override the system and control it. But if you think about it, it's still cheaper, because 10, 20 years ago, you had to deploy a fleet of traffic cops. Now, you have one guy sitting in a chair that looks at all the computers and can control all the traffic lights and get people to where they need to go faster and safer.
Sean, before we wrap up here, I'm just wondering, do you have any closing comments on this topic?
The one thing that I would say that I have to share with everyone, my experience is, in order for the solution to be successful, it should be designed very well. If you design the right solution, you'll be able to scale limited interruptions. If you properly organize a cookie cutter for, say, 10 trucks, you can move that to 100 or 1,000 when you use the type of setup that Advantech offers. We have monitoring with the Web Access NMS. It has Google Maps integration. So if a switch goes down, shouldn't you know about that before your customers? How does that affect the relationship with your customers when you call them up and let them know that you're aware of an issue and you've already started the paperwork for the service call? The service level agreement SLA time will obviously drop dramatically, and the customer will notice that their technology costs will go down. Hopefully that remaining budget will be used towards another technology advancement or more safety.
I appreciate you taking the time to do this today and talking about this topic. This has been the latest edition of Chatting with Chuck. I'm your host, Chuck. Please stay tuned for further episodes.